Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be covering some short-term resistance levels to watch out for on Bitcoin. So if you're new to the channel and you want to show some support, please do leave a like and subscribe. So I have this green moving average on my chart here. This is the EMA 34. So this is an exponential moving average. It weights the current closing price a little more heavily than the previous ones. Now, as you can see, we've been holding resistance off this moving average for the past 100 days or so. So it is a very key moving average where we're just coming up and rejecting off of every few days or so, right? So we have this pattern here where we break below it, come back up, reject as resistance, and then form lower lows. We come up, reject as resistance, and then we form lower lows. So it is currently at around $22,000. And it will continuously move down going into the next few days because 34 days ago we were closing prices around 19K or 29K. So when we do retest this, it is going to be a very key retest, and when we have a definitive sign off of this moving average, whether it be a reclaim and a retest of support or another rejection, I'm not sure. We're going to have to wait to see how this plays out. But this is going to be a very key retest. So if we're starting to see yet another rejection, similar to the two rejections in June, as well as the rejections in April and May, if we have another rejection off this moving average where we're coming up and then coming back down, something like this, that is going to be a very bearish sign to me, and I will start to think where we're going to just repeat this pattern where we come up, retest this, and then form lower lows. So in that event, I would expect a retest of this support area, this current low around $17,500. And then from there, ultimately, can we reclaim this range here and start retesting it once again? Now, that's the bearish case, but what happens if we reclaim it? So if we're reclaiming this and getting above this general range high around $22,000, that is going to be a very good sign to me, and I'm going to start targeting this $28,000 area. Now, the reason I think this is because let's look at the EMA 34, right? When we're above it, we're starting to see how, it's kind of breaking this downtrend. When we first broke above it here in February, this warranted a sideways period, the consolidation period, right? We were no longer in this dominant downtrend that began in November. So you can see we had this dominant downtrend start in November. We broke above this EMA, and then from there, we started to go sideways. We had this range. We were trending basically sideways without any downtrend, right? And then we broke below it once again, retested as resistance, and then we continued this longer term downtrend, right? So what we want to do is break this, start trending sideways, and then from there, if we can hold this 22,000 area as support and start having this EMA start to slope upwards, then from there, I'm going to target this $28,000 area because there's just a big gap here between the $28,000 area and the $22,000 area. You can see we basically dropped from 28K down to 22K in just 2 or 3 days or so. So obviously, it's a pretty big gap here without much resistance in the event that we're starting to reclaim this and trend back upwards. Now, if we are starting to do this on the short-term time frame, that's going to be very key for the long term because that would mean that we're starting to reclaim, say, the 200-week average, or we're going to start reclaiming some shorter-term averages that are basically holding as resistance at the moment. So I think it's going to be a very important thing to watch out for going into the next few days. Obviously, we could see some sort of sideways action continuing to consolidate here before we have a retest, right? Something like this, just as an illustration, if this moving average is starting to come down like this, we could obviously continue to move sideways and just consolidate here before having a retest of this. And really, once we do eventually break above this, it's going to be a very key sign. To me, it's going to look like we're kind of starting to build this base. We're going to have a retest of the $28,000 area, and we're going to play it level to level. And when we do ultimately get back up to this 28K region, if we're starting to reclaim these, then we can go from there and see how price action is interacting with some other moving averages and some other resistance levels. So that's the end of my short-term analysis on Bitcoin. I hope you guys did enjoy. And as always, I will see you in the next one.